Bring back that beat, DJ.
There you go, on cue. Welcome to the Fourcast, where we review movies, documentaries, films like you've never seen before in a completely different way. Organic, entertaining, education, entertaining and education at the same time.
Wow.
We give you everything. We give you everything. We give you everything.
It's even edutainment.
There you go. You know, you struggle with long words, so I don't know why you're trying to create one.
hey, it exists. It exists in the Urban Dictionary.
Now it does.
But welcome to the show. On tonight's show, we will be reviewing Blood Brothers, Malcolmx and Muhammad Ali. We've done, this is what our second film with, or documentary with Malcolmx as kind of the lead. So this kind of dived in a little bit deeper. But let's, if you're new to the show, introduce Wilks. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
All right. Dawk?
Short and sweet. Pretty good.
Short, sweet to the
point. Yeah.
I'm fantastic.
And TX, HRap.
I got the shot.
He's great.
You got the shot.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That's an inside. But let's go ahead and give some initial thoughts. Before I do that, we got Golden Brooks. Thank you for tuning in. And she was shouting out everybody. She want to make sure she got everybody's name in there. We appreciate that.
Right,
Just
man.
Joe.
Right.
Appreciate the birthday.
Living my life like it's golden.
All right.
Big Illy, Big Illinois. What's going on?
Big.
Appreciate
Fresh
y'all.
out.
All right. Fresh out. You still you've been fresh out for a minute.
Yeah, you can't be fresh out.
He toggles.
He goes in and out.
Habitual crime maker.
So, initial thoughts. I'll kick it off. I knew that they, Malcolmx and Muhammad Ali were close. I didn't really know to what degree, and I kind of appreciate this film because it dived in a little bit deeper. Also, you got to see more of each, person in their own right, and then it kind of brought them together. So I thought it was well done. Wilks.
Sorry, you caught me in the middle of something. No, actually, I was the same way. I didn't really realize. You know what? The funny thing was, anytime I've seen anything about Malcolm X and the civil rights movement, whether it be Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, I mean, even with the One Night in Miami, they never, I didn't know they were even, I guess you'd say, building a bond. This was a first time for me, even with the Who Killed Malcolm X. I mean, they didn't really touch on any of that. So this was new for me, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. There were some things that were kind of still left open, but I thought it was nice. That was pretty good. It was new to me. I learned a lot.
Yeah. All right, Doc.
Yeah, I liked it, and just real quickly, if we really pay attention to this from a community standpoint, it's a lot of lessons that can be learned from their relationship. Let me just leave it like that, and we'll get into it a little bit more later.
I agree. All right.
That's what I was going to say. You have to cherish your friends when you got them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's 100% true. And that kind of leads into the opening quote, which is Ali saying to the effect, your best friend to do you evil, which he was kind of reading off the script, and he was just, the best friend do you evil, your enemy do you good. He was just kind of laying it all out there, and we'll dive deeper into that. But I thought that was, a pretty telling intro that you kind of know where what direction this is going in.
Right.
And so I thought that was really kind of perfect and fitting. I don't know what you guys thought, HRap.
It was shocking. I had never heard that. It's shocking and disappointing at the same time. These are two of my favorite people in the history of the world, and it was just it was really sad to watch this. This was
exactly
like Wilks said, educational informative. You said as well, but it was sad, man, because this is the king of the what if videos.
Yeah.
And it's a sad situation.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and what's ironic about it is that they only had 3 years together.
Right.
And in the history of the world, that 3 years is significant.
Yeah.
There's a lot of folks only had 3 years to do what they did.
Right. That's true. There was a lot of people impacted. Both of their lives really changed forever. So it was that was really, those 3 years were monumental. Which his daughter she was a part of that kind of preview clip, just saying they had these 3 years, and those 3 years, went by and meant a lot. Raider Kev, he says, "What's up? Thank you for tuning in." Golden Brooks, probably talking to you, HRap. All right, so Wilks.
What's just happening right here? What was going on here?
Ain't nobody come to see you.
You doing that Wayne's Brothers?
Like, what is going on right now? Like, back to you, Hollywood Squares. Yeah, so this documentary, for me, I have to say, kind of what HRap was mentioning. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things of the what ifs. It's like you've got Malcolmx as far as people taking him the wrong way as he's anti-white, but he's not anti-white. He's more pro-black, but that doesn't mean he's anti-white. I'm just trying to get you to, stand up for yourselves and not lay down and take these beatings and take these attacks. Of course, then Muhammad Ali, on the other hand, he's young and vibrant and capturing the world. It's one of those things where if we can get somebody as bombastic as him, I think we can bridge this thing and show might in numbers. But I don't know. It was kind of a sad thing. But I would have liked to, see a little bit more. I mean, an hour and what was it, like 35 minutes?
30 minutes or something.
I feel like there was probably more, but they probably all they could put together. But no, that's how I feel about it.
And to your point, I think all of these types of documentaries, we want more.
Right.
But I don't know if y'all noticed, but there was a lot of similar shots, a lot of similar pictures, because I think there's only so much that they really have to kind of work with. But yeah, I agree with you too. There's always more, and you're wanting to know, hey, how did Muhammad Ali feel? What was, and people spoke for him from what they heard, but obviously we from what we've seen, we haven't heard it from him.
Right.
Yeah. So how many of you guys knew that Muhammad Ali had a brother? I did not know that.
I didn't know that.
I figured HRap was gonna know.
No. The only reason I know is because of the movie Ali. His brother was the photographer.
Yeah, I saw the movie, but I was so captivated by Will Smith's performance that I didn't pay attention to much else.
Yeah, and Mario Van Peebles playing Marco.
One for that movie, I don't know either.
Yeah, and interesting enough, I think we've all seen it, but I just didn't really remember that
long
part.
time.
Yeah, and I ain't really like it.
It's okay, man. It's okay.
It's a Beckett situation. And not everybody likes that movie. But seeing his brother, which kind of talked like him, I felt like that was a really good person to have in this type of film.
Right. And are they suffering from the same illness?
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I think he's just old.
Okay.
No, because he looked old, and then he was on the walker. Maybe he's just this old.
That's a little bit more cognitive issues that I was seeing than just old age. But I don't know that we know, but
yeah,
it was just a little different to me.
Yeah, he just seemed elderly to me.
Yeah, I mean,
he maybe one or two too many of these.
Yeah, he maybe had a couple of swigs before the interview. He's 78, So he's
Yeah.
up there in age. So
If he's 78, it's over.
Damn.
wow,
Wow, man.
wow.
And that's why they call him Mayhem, ladies and gentlemen.
I will turn off the lights on that one. Jeez.
The shots at
And
the
he's
elderly.
hey, and he the soft one on the show.
So
Man.
Golden, we were talking about Blood Brothers, Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. That's the actual name of it. It's on Netflix, so you'll be able to find it there. It is there and available, an hour and about 36 minutes. Definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, definitely. And we talked about wanting more. The bottom line is that you hearing that buzz? Okay, went on. The bottom line is that the documentary, telling a documentary in an hour and a half, even 2 hours, is much different than telling a story.
Right.
Like a movie, in an hour and a half or 2 hours, So I think that proves to be difficult, as we've learned. If we ain't learned nothing in doing the forecast, we done learn that it's, a lot of them need to be these 4-part or 5-part series to really give you what you want.
Yeah. If you want everything, Exterminate the Brutes laid it all out there. There wasn't a lot that we said, hey, we wanted more of this. I mean, it was almost like, whoa, it's like too much.
Yeah, How on the Hog too. They're 4-part. So
right.
Yeah, that's why I said earlier this year. I don't think we should ever have another bio picture. Unless you're gonna do a biopic of Tupac and Biggie, and then you get 24 years into 90 minutes. But with these iconic individuals who, like, you can't do a Stevie Wonder biopic.
Oh yeah, no. Right. That's why I've been so. I know it's kind of off the path here, but that's why I've been a little hesitant about the Aretha Franklin movies.
Right.
It's just like
Aretha Franklin.
Like,
that was the joint back in the
day. It's hard to reenact someone in a film. Like not everybody can do that. I haven't seen Respect yet, but I probably will see it. My sister's actually got a cameo in there.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a split. Interesting. I might have to get her on a show to talk about that. But it was like they did a lot of filming, but she was only on there for like 2 seconds.
It's all right.
So they kind of edited it out. But
she got 2 more seconds than the rest of us.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Man.
All right, fine.
Wait, no. Nope. You ain't getting out of this.
I'm getting fine as one first.
Put that right back, and you had it up there. Now, is you gonna try to say it? Is you is or is you ain't?
Don't do it, Ben.
I'm not doing it. I was gonna say
give you the shortcut.
I'm gonna say
that's his gift.
Oh, his gift. All right. I see. Normally, it's my name on YouTube. Normally, Gotcha. Pastor Derek Smith, thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
So one thing I appreciated in this documentary was the cameos. You had Cornel West in here. You had Todd Boyd, which I've seen him in so many different things that we watched.
He's in the Rick James.
That guy's got a wealth. I've seen him on sports documentaries, music documentaries, and he's even doing this documentary. So I mean, the guy is pretty well rounded. But what you guys think of the cameos?
I thought they were pretty good. I know, like Cornel West, he had a kind of a comment about a tremendous cost about being a loving and free person. It's like and a cross to bear. That was pretty deep.
Agreed. Yeah, that
it was almost like they crucify you for being a free thinking person. So this is one of those things where I'm not going to be in the back seat anymore. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to pass this on. So I thought the cameos were pretty nice. I wasn't expecting that, but I thought it was pretty nice.
Now we'll get to one of them in a minute. The guy Melchizedek, the Supreme. I didn't write it down, but
Yeah,
every time the camera got on him, I was looking forward to hearing what he was gonna say.
Yeah.
Hey man, homeboy kept it live.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm talking about? You
Right.
guys understand what I'm trying to say?
Excuse my term, niggas.
Right. It sounds like somebody you can find sitting outside the liquor store, holding the court, talking to everybody.
Sitting on the sitting outside the store in a folding chair.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. That was literally my favorite line out the whole joint. Hey, and then he leaned into it.
Yeah.
Excuse my terminology. Niggas.
Yeah. He had to make you feel
Excuse me.
Yeah. That was an Eddie Murphy character right there.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, if you ain't think he was real, you would have thought, they got some comedy to this.
Yeah, you know.
Don't let that
and then when he was putting the rings on, and he was like, he had the close up on the rings and the bow tie and everything. It was that was dope, man. He made me want to go join.
Yeah.
With the 40.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, he's had a 40.
Yeah.
He's had an 80.
You know he did.
This was before he joined.
Yeah, before he signed up.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the key points in this, which is relatable today, is I think this was Cornel West saying athletes expect to be quiet, and I was just not Ali at all.
Right.
But that's the same exact thing today on any particular issue. If an athlete, and I'm saying a black athlete, speaks up, it's like just shut up and dribble. It shouldn't be that important. But it's that important because it's their people that's being affected. And so I wanted to kind of touch on that, which I think we all agree.
It was kind of like that moment in there where they talked about how, Muhammad Ali came back and, he had threw his medal in the river, and it was kind of like one of those. And all of a sudden, he was appealing to the local, people there, and all of a sudden, America was doing what it does best. It was just marketing black men, just marketing black women, marketing black people in that era, just to get rich. It's like, don't have a voice. We don't need you to talk about your community situations. We don't care about that. Just, do your sport. This is why we're backing you. This is why we're promoting you. So I just felt like that moment was it's showing you like America doing what it does best for most black athletes. We just want to market you.
Right. That story was, I didn't know that either. I mean, I felt like I learned a lot more about Ali than I did Malcolmx in this, obviously because we've watched the documentaries and we've seen other things, but that story there, like I think that, and one of his friends was basically saying from that, I was at that moment where he knew, like, America does not have my back, so it's just time for me to stop playing around here.
Yeah, and he was not shy about telling the reporters, you don't like me because I'm telling you the truth. You don't like me because I'm speaking up. You don't like me because I ain't just sitting taking what you got to say.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Because they did not, in fact, in the documentary, they talked about how his image changed later in life. Like when they got toward the, lighting of the torch in the Atlanta Olympics, before then, he's an extremely divisive figure. Considering his take on, his anti-war stance, So yeah, and it's just amazing. And a couple of people commented on that, how a couple of different figures, even Malcolmx, both, how their images changed later in life and how they softened, and why is that? Is it because America has the tendency to want to serve people in digestible fashion, and soften the blow, so to speak? I don't know, but yeah, his image changed because everybody wasn't feeling him, which is why he couldn't get no fights, and and he had to face charges, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and I think it was just pretty much over time, like Dr. Boyd was saying, you would have never imagined that Malcolm X would be on the stamp.
Right.
You kind of said that towards the end, but
Right.
I think time changes. I think also they were talking about the younger generation that's now researching and figuring out like, hey, who these people were, and I think that's also been a push, of kind of their legacy and their image. Rucker Park, building. How you doing?
Yeah, I think with that said, being I think as parents, and even uncles and big cousins and all that, we would be doing ourselves a service to suggest to our younger generation to absorb content like this. I believe it is because that like they said, Malcolm X would not be Malcolm X without Marcus Garvey, right? And his dad, that was his follower and stuff like that. So that when they see things like this, when they see people like this and how those people operate, sometimes it can unlock and awaken something in them to, for them to be who they are, right? I heard something today about, in fact, it was actually Michael Irvin talking about Dak Prescott, and he said that he has the ability to reach in the kid and pull out the king in somebody, and I, liken that to what we have to do in our community. We got to reach in those kids and pull out the kings.
Right.
Yeah, that's real.
Definitely makes sense.
DJ Purplelicious, thank you for tuning in. That's the name right there, DJ Perp. And Archie Red, if you got the Kool-Aid cup, we already know who that is. Thank you for tuning in. All right, so kind of as it was kind of going back and forth on each person. So I talked about Ali athletes, talked about Earl Little, obviously Malcolm X's father, and how he was murdered when Malcolm was 6. This was in 1931. And it kind of went to his daughter, basically saying like how that impacted him, especially at that particular age. I mean, you could only imagine like not having your dad from that age on, how much that affects you.
Mm-hmm.
HRap, you want to touch on that?
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Because a lot of people always present it, and I had the utmost respect for the Nation of Islam, but people always present it as if this wasn't in him.
Right.
The Most Honorable Elijah
Right.
Muhammad relit a flame. That's what he did.
Yeah.
It was he relit the pilot,
Mm-hmm.
and our ancestor Earl Little, the Most Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, and other people like that, Noble Drew Ali. These people were out and about and spreading the word before Malcolm, and along with Elijah Muhammad. And it's just when you grow up in a household like that, you are more than likely gonna be there. Like a lot of people reference the movie, and they think Brother Baines is a real character. Brother Baines is not a real character. Brother Baines is a combination of Malcolm X's brother, who is still living, if I'm not mistaken, or he recently transitioned, and this player was a dude who was a player. He went to Malcolm and said, "Hey, man, you're one of the smartest guys in this joint, man. Why don't you get your act together?" And then his brother starts sending him this information, and this created the guy we know as Malcolm X, Malik El-Haj Shabazz. So it's just, we never get to, and this goes back to what Dawk said, we never talk to our kids and our nieces and nephews about these things. But again, this is why, not to knock Texas, y'all know I'm Texas HRap. Never said nothing. How about them Cowboys? No, but this is why the biggest in your state, and Arizona and Florida and 13 other states have banned critical race theory, because it empowers you to find out that they were, the image of our community is always this shucking and jiving black person, and he's always cowering, or they give you Martin Luther King, who's an upright, righteous brother, but they don't give you the whole Martin King, because if you go back to 1958 and listen to the March on Washington speech, that one, you get a whole nother Martin King. People like to say, well, 2 years before he died, he had a little bit before he died, he had a resurrection. But no, he was talking about reparations in 58.
Yeah.
So as Dawk said, it will behoove us not to tell these people to go look into these things. because, dude, like, okay, watch this. How many of y'all know Malcolm X's mother died in the 70s?
I would say no.
Didn't know that.
Exactly. This lady was institutionalized. She was denigrated, and she lived on to be in Malcolm X's daughter's lives when he wasn't there. So now you got an elder. That's why they are the people that they are, because they got an awesome, super duper 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 awesome mom.
Yeah.
And you got your super duper awesome grandma.
Mhm.
The word. And then y'all young ladies, that's the best part. These are young ladies being raised by all-time great women. And then you see the results with his daughters. So,
Yeah.
and this is why critical race theory is being suppressed on a regular basis, because when you find out about Marcus Garvey, and then like with this, I didn't even know the connection between Marcus Garvey and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know
I
that.
didn't know that.
That was new to me.
You know, and this is right in my wheelhouse. When I watched it, I was like, wow, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
So, you know, just okay, you hang, look at that. You got a dude from Jamaica hanging out with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is hanging out with him, and he spins it into one of the most powerful organizations in America, even to this very day, because he's realizing both of them was born in the 1800s, and they going, hey, we can't keep bowing.
Right.
This brings up the two books that I always tell people to read. Was 4 books: Powernomics and White Wealth and Black Labor. And then the other one is We Shoot Back, and that nonviolent stuff will get you killed. Read those 4 books.
Wow. And in watching this kind of sparked my interest on Marcus Garvey, because I know some about him, but I feel like I'm slacking on the information. So I'm gonna do my own research. But that's important, like what HRap is saying.
Was
the kids now and even teenagers now, everybody now, like it's never too late to.
Was Marcus Garvey ever pardoned? I think that came up during the Obama administration. Didn't that come up?
No, his son, who's a doctor, a retired doctor in New York, is fighting to this very day to get his name cleared.
Okay.
Joe Biden.
Right.
On our vote. Free markets.
And his son was in this documentary too.
That dude.
Okay. Yeah.
Still fighting for that. I see. Yeah. Man.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Wow.
So as we continue to go along, it talks about how Cassius Clay at the time grew up Baptist. Didn't know that either. Obviously, we know that he changed his name, but also Ali was born in 1942. Emmett Till was born in 1941. So they were right about the same age when that happened. So you just talk about, if you look at both of their lives, they've had impactful deaths. Obviously, Malcolm X, his father, and Muhammad Ali, seeing Emmett Till and seeing what happened to him.
Right.
And his daughter was saying that was a kind of major part in his life that kind of also led him to being who he was.
Yeah, imagine if they had just closed the casket at that funeral.
Right.
Yeah.
The fact that it was an open casket may have created one of the most powerful figures in our history.
Yeah. I was thinking that same thing. So saying the same thing to my wife. Man, if the courage that it took for her to say, I'm just gonna leave this open,
right,
knowing how my baby looks, and I'm just gonna leave it open so that the world can see. That's still a powerful moment.
Yeah, still to this day. In fact, I had a note about old black and white footage. Just something about it, ain't it, man?
Yeah.
Especially when it's about our history and our folks and some of the struggles and stuff like that. It's just extremely powerful, to say the least.
It hits you different.
Yeah, because and just saying that, kind of going back, what HRap was saying, it's like, how are we? And I've said this before. How are we still talking about the same thing that is being repeated in multiple documentaries? It's not even about the same people. It's like we're still talking about it. It's like, man, it's mind blowing. It's almost like, hey, bring it up, keep it fresh, keep it out there, don't let it waver. It's one of those things, and it just blows my mind. It's like, so we can't be making this up. we can't forget about it. You know, it's like we're not laboring over this. Like this is something that is serious. And they act like this has happened in the 1700s. Like no, this is happening in the 1900s.
Right.
Like,
Right.
what?
And the worst part about it is you can put a black and white photo of what's happening now, and or you can put a picture from back in that time in color, and you wouldn't even know the difference.
Right. Wow.
That's
that's
the worst part.
Wow. Yeah. Imagine seeing the George Floyd footage in black and white.
Oh, you wouldn't know the difference. You put that in black and white.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Put just the photo of Derek Chauvin standing on that brother's neck.
Right.
Put it in black and white. You think it was 50 years ago.
You would think of you would think it was like, what really? Like, what is going on here? And then a few blocks down the street, somebody getting hit with the fire hose. You're like, come on, man. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's sickening just to see how we've come a long way. Not really.
Right.
Not really. It's just now, and even now it's more out there. So if you imagine back in that time, all the stuff that wasn't caught, all the stuff that you didn't have camera phones, you didn't have anything at your disposal.
It's kind of like, and maybe it's just me, but I can't imagine, how we have missing persons now. I can't imagine what missing persons was like back then. Somebody did not make it to their destination because they were black, traveling down this road. I think about stuff like that often, like how many people did not make it to where they needed to go because they were black. I can't even imagine the cases that would come out from people that went missing.
The case files that were just, probably weren't even case files. It was just like, okay.
Right.
We'll get on it. Then there we go.
One of the biggest stories in the civil rights movement is when those two Jewish kids who were going down to Mississippi to register, two Jewish kids and the black guy were in the car, and they got killed by the Klan. And it took the FBI's involvement to make that a national story. Fast forward 60 years, and the whole world was looking for that white girl last week.
Right.
Yeah.
But 8,500 black women missing right now today in the United States of America, and we don't know one of their names.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So And yesterday, on the first Sunday of every month, I take my aunts to the grocery store. We hang out, we cut up, we have a ball. And my aunt, it's funny that we talking about this. My Aunt Ernestine, shout out to my Aunt Ernestine, she was like, you know what's wrong with these young people? And I hate to say this, they ain't seen enough of their friends hanging. She said, you see a couple of your friends hanging, then she'll wake the hell up then. Wow. And the funny thing, I've been saying that for a minimum of 10 years.
Wow.
And not to even act like that's not powerful. It's one of those things when you hear somebody in World War II say, you know what happens when you see one of your buddies being blown apart? I mean, come on, man. Whew. That's crazy.
The impact.
Yeah.
That image. I mean,
yeah.
I don't that's not something you can just quickly just get out of your head.
No, that'll stay with you forever.
Yeah. Now, Ali going to the Olympics 1960, he won gold. And I like the I think the reporter they interviewing, they were like he was the king of the city, and he was just
they called him the mayor of Olympic Village,
Right.
He hadn't even became Ali yet, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was very, very young, and being asked about his name, I thought that was really an interesting clip there because he was like, "Well, I really don't know. I just know that he was the sixth, right? Didn't they say he was closest to the sixth?
Six.
Yeah, that's another thing I didn't know. But that it was just interesting to see his impact at that younger age. I haven't seen any footage like that. I don't know if you guys have seen anything like that as far as him being. So that was kind of locked up, footage that was brand new, to me.
It did shed a light on his father in the movie because his father was incensed when he changed his name. So of course, back then You change your name to a Muslim name, older people gonna be looking at you crazy. But you think, and I found myself thinking, what the hell he's so mad about? Just his name. But when you are the sixth,
right,
and it will not be a seventh.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. I have to say this real quick, just when Ben was mentioning that, how powerful, and kind of like what Dawk was saying, he hadn't even been known as Muhammad Ali yet. Just those two names, Cassius Clay and Muhammad Ali, how significant those names are. It's kind of like when you're at the funeral and they talk about that little dash in between the years. It's like, what went on between Cassius Clay and Muhammad Ali, those years in between those names, are significant, and each one of those names almost seemed to be a different person, it seemed to exist outside of themselves. So I think that was pretty powerful, and just kind of like what Doc was saying. It's like, you're not even Muhammad Ali yet. We haven't got to that part of your life. We're still talking about Cassius.
It leads credence to the thought that we are shaped by our experiences, right? And that's at least the second time we've mentioned this already, right? Going back to the Emmett Till funeral, situation, we're shaped by our experiences, and which is why we need to protect our experiences.
Yeah, at all costs.
That's a great point. I heard all of that. That's a great point.
That was a word.
Yeah. Golden Brooks with a good point, but her dad said everyone should get TV coverage when they're missing, not just my daughter, which that was a good comment. And Jelani Day, the college student, was the
that goes back to, I think there was Dr. King who said, our biggest threat is that middle ground. It's not the extremists, that's the problem. It's the folks that sit back and don't say nothing, and it needs to be people like this young lady's father to say, my daughter shouldn't be the only one that's getting this kind of TV coverage. It has a bigger impact there. When we say it, we got an axe to grind, or we just, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to always have a reason to be able to, dismiss our comments, but when somebody like that says it.
Yeah.
Especially the pain he's experienced.
That's right. And to still think about somebody else.
Right. When it's your daughter and you come up and say that, it's more of an impact. True. So we kind of touched about this already, but to kind of tell the story, Muhammad Ali comes back home and he realizes that nothing's changed. And also when he was in Rome, there was no Jim Crow. He was able to basically do pretty much whatever he wanted. So I think that was another major moment in his life, that him coming back and then realizing nothing's really changed. He walks into the diner with his jacket, his Olympic jacket on, and the medal, and the guy's like, "We don't serve your kind, boy." And his friend was saying he was hurt. You just think what you do for America, and then come back home and it's like you're nobody.
Yeah, he was proud of it, what he did. That's why I encourage folks to, even if it's got to be a road trip, you can't afford a plane ticket, jump in the vehicle, take them somewhere, let them see the world and see the differences between their neighborhood and other neighborhoods, the difference between their community and other community, the difference between their state and other states. I mean, heck, we on this show alone, HRap got an awakening at his age coming to Texas. And he's like, wow, I paid attention. I read the newspaper articles, and I fell for the okie doke, so to speak. You got to expose folks, and then think about going back to High on the Hog and Exterminate the Brutes. It's like the people who are enlightened have gone somewhere, they have not gathered that information by sitting at home. What I mean by sitting at home, I don't mean under your roof. I mean sitting in the same city, state, or town you're from. You got to get out and see the world for your perspective to change.
it's kind of like what Dawk was saying. Like sometimes, you know, I love technology, and you know, you see different videos on YouTube, and well, I don't like this because of this thing right here, or I don't like this. Well, this didn't work out for me. I'm complaining about this. But I think for me, like if I buy that certain device and I use it, that video to me becomes void because it's like, okay, but that didn't affect me. But I almost didn't buy this product because you were pushing, well, this is why I don't like it. This is why I don't like it.
All right.
When HRap came to Texas, he realized, like you said, he got an awakening. And just like I was telling HRap about Chicago, it's like if you keep listening to the news, you swear everybody's killing somebody in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You swear to God, they're gunning down everybody every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things where you have to get out. And my grandmother believed this. You've got to get out and experience the world for yourself. And I've also heard, like, when you know the truth, nobody can bullshit you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
it's one of those things where you just got to get out and you've got to do the work for yourself, the research for yourself, the studying for yourself. Don't let somebody else breathe on you what they think is right. It's just one of those things you have to get and just get that knowledge yourself.
Yeah, I always say that a man with an experience is never at the mercy of a man with an argument.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's vital.
That's real.
And tune in Sunday for Deacon Reverend Dr. Dawk.
We'll take a love offering immediately after this.
Here's a nice segue. Speaking of church, one of the most powerful lines in the documentary is when Muhammad Ali went to that white church and noticed they singing the same hymns that we singing in the black church. Why we got to do it differently? Why can't we come in there? Y'all singing the same thing we singing,
right.
You know? So yeah, that was a powerful statement to me, man.
Yeah, man. And that's what annoys me about being here in America at times, because they act like when we speak about discrimination, we just speak about racism, it's something we made up. No, we just y'all did this.
Exactly.
This is your creation. Right. We didn't create this problem. We are the result of the problem.
Right.
And I think that's where that argument gets confused when people say black people can't be racist. It's not that they're not saying black people can't be racist. We haven't built literally things that keep people out of certain organizations and situations. Right. You have gone to lengths to say, "Oh, you're not welcome here." We don't have anything established like that. We don't have anything in our history that. Yeah, I don't know.
Let me give you something so real, man. I got white business partners, right? We strategically make decisions about whether I'm going to be upfront involved in certain situations or whether I'm going to play the black background in certain situations. Strategically. So he got to the point he didn't understand early on why I was saying you go handle such and such.
Right.
You go handle such and such, until I had to tell him one day, if we want to get this account,
right,
if we want to make the most of this, you need to go handle this. So to where he finally started picking up on it, to where he's like, I got it. Right. You know, I got it. You know, he started asking me, are you saying this because of, you know, so he had to see firsthand, you need to go, man.
Right.
You know,
definitely.
And that's, I mean, I'm talking about we've made decisions like that this year.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not talking about years ago. Yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
This month, probably.
I believe it. And that was probably good for him to see too.
Oh, no question about it.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Great comment by Raider Kev. My parents did the same thing. We went traveling during the summers.
Yes.
We went to North Carolina where my family is. We never really went up north, but we went somewhere. Mm-hmm. So you can see more of just what's
exactly
on your block or what's in your city. So that's definitely important.
Yeah, man, I made it my business as an adult to see as much of America as I could. Right. There's very few hot spots that I haven't been to. And even some spots that people didn't even think about, like Rhode Island.
That's why you had to get that shot in them hot spots.
All right, tune in next week.
Exactly.
Right.
And on that note, let's hit the outro.
All right. The doors of the church is now open.
This is only a
Please
portion
come.
of what you get from Reverend Deacon Dr. Dawk.
Please come. Won't you come, please?
On Sunday worship.
Right. The Lord is
It
calling.
ain't only hell. This Sunday, the message is it ain't only hell that's hot.
Exactly.
That's right.
Oh, man.
What
But
the
yeah,
hell do
man.
you want?
That's why I mean I told him.
All right, Ricky.
All right.
That was a perfect moment. I had to say that.
Hey,
Go ahead.
on a serious note, if anybody's listening, if you get a chance, if you and your wife need a weekend getaway, or you and your boo thing need to get a weekend getaway, go to St. Simons, Georgia.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, it's inexpensive.
Yeah.
And you can literally, this place is so beautiful. You can literally do like this and spin around. And whenever you take the stop, just take a picture when you stop. It's gonna be postcard worthy.
Wow.
It's a former enslavement port.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, one of the most goodest looking places you've ever been to in your life.
Yep, on my bucket list for sure.
I'm telling you, please go. But don't go alone. I'm telling you, don't go alone. You gotta go with somebody who appreciates, as you stated, who appreciates different things. Or take somebody who's totally ignorant, who's either take somebody who appreciates things, or take somebody who has never left their community. When they go there,
right,
you better be dating them because they're gonna be bugging you. When we going somewhere else? It's a beautiful place, man. St. Simons, Georgia.
You'd be surprised how many people just hadn't left their porch step.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Like,
you got people in their own neighborhood that I don't go over there. Why not? It's nice. I'm gonna go over there and enjoy it.
Hey man,
you're not going. I'm going.
Common.
Right.
He mentioned. He said, I asked my friend how does traveling the world sound. He was like, I found it hard to imagine he hadn't been past downtown. And when you say downtown Chicago, it's literally it is the separator of everything in Chicago. It's the south side, then you go north and it's downtown. It's the west side, you go east, then you hit downtown before you can go to south or north. If you're from the north side, you hit downtown before you go west or south.
Yeah.
So it is literally the center of the city.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure, man. And it doesn't surprise me the number of people that haven't traveled because I recognize the global economy and the impact that has on people's ability or inability to be able to travel. Right. What surprises me is their lack of desire to do so. That's what surprises me. If folks are just like have no interest whatsoever in, and you see it sometimes. In fact, it reared its ugly head with this most recent hurricane that we had. They were interviewing some people in Louisiana and they're like, I ain't going nowhere. And they got a reason to go. Dangerous headed your way. Right. And they still don't want to go. Yeah. So there's some folks when everything is all hunky-dory, they damn sure don't want to leave.
Right.
Yeah. And they're not even willing to go to Shreveport. I mean, some of
Now I'll go up there.
It's crazy up there.
I don't go on that side of the boot.
Miss Sonia, aka Denise, Milk and Cookies. How you doing?
Miss Sonia.
Just so you know what we're talking about, you just coming in. Blood Brothers, Malcolmx and Muhammad Ali. And I think the title was really fitting too, because they were so close to each other. At one point in the doc, Malcolm X's daughter's like, if him going to Miami and staying with him, that like made her see that he trusts this guy wholeheartedly. And that picture, man, that's a picture I think I want up in my house, man. Just them sitting there, Muhammad Ali just leaning back laughing. And there was another photo. I think it was towards the beginning of Malcolmx. That's probably the biggest picture I've ever seen him smile.
Yeah.
I don't know what that. I don't know if he was standing next to Muhammad Ali at that point.
Yeah,
but that was.
Yeah, there's no question about it. So, okay, this is the note I made on that. I said Ali lightened Malcolm X's life.
Yeah.
You know, he had such a heavy life. You know, but Muhammad Ali, it's obvious that he's this kind of dude. He don't care what's going on around you, how serious it is. He's going to lighten the situation, you know, just with his personality. That's just who he was, you know. And so I think that's why Malcolm X was drawn to Ali more so, is because he lightened his life. And Ali will tell you the reason why he was drawn to Malcolm X is because he's the first brother he ever heard stand up to white folks. Right. You know, he's like, I ain't seen that, you know, before. So that's why he was drawn to him. But Malcolm X, it's no question about it. He was lighter when Ali was around.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's been a while since I watched this movie, Ali, with Will Smith, but didn't they touch on that with Mario Van Peebles? Like, didn't he meet him like at a hotel or something? I thought he was coming out and he like walked up and the guy was like stopping him and he was just trying to get to talk to him or something like that. I thought that they touched on that friendship a little bit. I thought.
Well, in the documentary, I think they touched on that where he was, Malcolm X was at a table or somewhere. I think that was in a hotel.
It may have been switched in Ali then.
Yeah. But Malcolm X didn't know who Muhammad Ali was.
Right.
Yeah. And that was another interesting point
which made sense because remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they said they didn't have anything to do with sports,
right?
Okay, at all. You know, they taught against it, right?
Exactly.
And now this is when I'm finna go on and push the button on our folks like we do anybody else. But when it became beneficial, now we paying attention to sports.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead, HRap. You gonna say something?
Oh no, I was just listening. I mean, I totally agree with him. It's one of those things, man. When I found myself, and as Malcolm X said in the book, I'm not going to compare myself to Paul, and I'm not going to compare myself to Malcolm X. But just think, Ben, me and you met because we both were doing sports shows, and I rarely watch sports now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the more I immerse myself into community empowerment in my show, I found myself watching sports. Like if y'all were here in Chicago, I would watch ball with y'all. Me and my man Chris Crispin, he comes in the show every once in a while.
Yeah,
we would literally start talking like right now and look up, it's 3:00 in the morning. All we've been talking about is sports. We still have those same kind of conversations, but sports never come up. So I mean, I get it. And I don't have an issue with sports. It's just I don't feel like watching it no more. I mean, I'm better served. I have more fun watching documentaries or having conversations with guys like y'all, just talking about life.
Yeah.
And sports not even fun anymore.
Right. So, well, just like your taste buds change from the time you was a kid to the time you're an adult, your mental taste buds change as well.
Mm-hmm.
And what used to be delicious to you is distasteful.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we kind of touched on this a little bit, but Muhammad Ali goes from that situation at the store to then a group of wealthy white Louisville businessmen. Like, whoa,
oh,
hold on, you can box, okay?
Oh,
and they all come in. This is another part of the story I didn't know. They all come in and say, "Hey, we gonna sponsor you and manage you, and make sure you're a good, respectable boy."
The guy said they sound like they were talking about their racehorses.
Right, exactly. That's what it looked like. They look so excited. Like, isn't he pretty? Isn't he strong? He'll win the race tomorrow.
Yep, the Louisville sponsoring group. Yeah, I'd heard that before. I can't remember exactly where I'd heard it, but I'd heard that took place.
Yeah.
Well,
and that may be why he was able to train with Dundee, because they financed his ability to be able to go to Miami. So without them, maybe he doesn't become the greatest ever.
It's this movie called The Greatest that Muhammad Ali made in the 70s. It was his life story. He starred in it as himself. And And he talks about that then. But you know what? This is where being the Nation of Islam really paid off for Muhammad Ali. Even though he did run into a period where he wasn't being compensated or his money wasn't where it should have been. But just imagine how broke he would have been had he never met Malcolmx, because those dudes would have pimped him to the very end.
Yeah.
If he don't run into Malcolmx.
Yeah.
And when he became a Muslim, they you're done with you.
Right. Oh, well, just tell him you're not Muslim. We'll let you box.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we'll let you slide this time.
Right.
So yeah, that was an impactful part. And then also going to Louis X, aka Louis Farrakhan, was a singer.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Singing like mambo. They said he was singing mambo music.
Yeah. I mean, Louis, most honorable Louis Farrakhan was a rich man as a singer too. You know.
Yeah, I felt like he was I kind of felt like Louis. I feel like he was already kind of well-to-do.
But I mean, you got to leave all that behind when you join the nation.
Yeah.
And then this, as we all talk about spirituality, it just shows you if you dedicate your life to God, you get all that stuff back.
Right.
Yeah. I get it though. He was light-skinned with a nice slick back, and he had a good voice. Oh
yeah. We're not gonna let's not get into the debate about whether his voice was good or not. You know, it did what it needed to do.
Yeah. He had the looks. He had the looks. That's all that matters.
Pretty sure he saw him naked a few times.
Hey.
Oh, wow.
Hey, just saying.
I'm distancing from that comment.
Okay.
Literally.
I'll take it.
Now, one moment that we all know about, Captain Sam, which we seen him in Who Killed Malcolmx.
Yeah.
Also, he might have been in One Night in Miami, but I don't know. Now, when I think about it, might have to watch that again.
Yeah.
But he kind of started to mentor Clay, and then that's when the white Kentuckians started figuring out, like, whoa, your inner circle changing.
Yeah.
And,
had people tailing the car and chasing them.
Mess. Right. Yeah, they're not looking real friendly like to us.
Right.
So you got to step back a little bit. But that's another impactful moment of him meeting Captain Sam, and then they had his son that was on there. So I thought that was another impactful moment.
Yeah, man. I like the Captain Sam thing because it goes back to, again, as Dawk said 20 minutes ago. Captain Sam is the reason he was the big brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, while you got Malcolmx traveling the world, you got Captain Sam there giving him the information and empowering him, letting him know, hey, because I'm not sure if you guys noticed, Malcolmx he dropped out of school. I mean, Muhammad Ali, before he joined the Nation of Islam, he was known as a guy who wasn't a very good student. He could barely read. So you join the nation. You join the Nation of Islam, and not only are you reading better, you're reading things that will empower you.
Right.
So I can teach you Ned in the first reader, but are you still gonna be saying see Ned run, spot run?
Right.
Or are you gonna start reading things that when somebody asks you about your history, you can regurgitate things that like I always tell people, oh man, you're smart guy. I'm like, man, smart don't mean nothing. I say anybody can memorize a bunch of dates,
right?
But can you use those dates in the midst of a conversation to enhance the conversation and push the conversation forward?
Right.
That's intelligence because, like I said, anybody can remember a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that leads to kind of what HRap was saying. It's like you speaking power to truth, or you speaking truth to power, pretty much. It's one of those things. It's like, yeah, you got the authority. You're all big and everything, but what are you backing that with? What are you covering that with? It's like now I've got to speak truth to this thing because you've been pulling the wool over people's eyes, or you've been, kind of shysty. So yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah. And I think Dawk, you touched on this. This was during, or HRap did. This is during that time where Muhammad Ali was getting closer to the Nation of Islam, and Malcolmx was getting further away. And I was also during that fight, the Sonny Liston fight, when one of the gentlemen in the documentary, which I think he was in, who killed Malcolmx. I can't remember the guy's name, but I think he's a reporter or a journalist. Yeah. He kind of started to talk about how Muhammad Ali wasn't really aware kind of what was going on. Right. He was training. He was getting ready for a fight.
Right.
This was big for him. So I don't think he didn't necessarily get it, but Malcolmx was still that same person to him, kind of up until some other things happened. But I thought that was an interesting kind of timeline right there that Captain Sam really was the one that kind of filled in.
Yeah, I remember when he was training in Miami, they asked Malcolmx to leave and come back when the night of the fight,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think had Malcolmx stayed through that time period, he may have been made more aware of what was going on. But probably wisely they, let him concentrate on what he needed to concentrate on.
Yeah, you making the spot hot. I need you to step out. I need you to step aside from it.
Exactly.
Now, I didn't realize the age difference. Muhammad Ali was 22. Malcolmx was 36. When they were kind of working together. So you think about that 3-year period. That's a prime time for Muhammad Ali, and that was really obviously Malcolmx is on his way out. So. Again, another interesting part on the timing. And then the other part of it too was kind of right before that fight. I might be skipping ahead a little bit. Right before that fight, when Malcolmx came in and kind of really coached him up, or was like, "Hey, you can do this." That was another powerful moment because Malcolmx had that kind of ability to speak to people and get them to that next level, or to speak into them, basically.
Right.
Yeah, I think they had some footage basically of Muhammad Ali basically saying that Malcolmx was one of the few people that was saying, "You can do this," and caused him to believe in himself in another way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? This has nothing to do with what we're talking. This has nothing to do with the movie, but I gotta if you watch Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp has a podcast and he interviews a lot of big time athletes, entertainers or what have you. This past week or a week before last, I don't know when it was, he interviewed Mark Jackson. And he asked Mark Jackson, everybody is anti-Ben Simmons right now. He's a bum, he's a scrub, he's a buster. Forget the fact that he's doing excellent outside of shooting good free throws, right?
Yeah.
And he asked Mark Jackson, he said, he was like, what would you do? And Mark Jackson, in the true sense of a coach / point guard, said, I just tell him to shoot. He said, every time he turn around, I say, shoot it, shoot it, shoot it. And that's what Malcolmx was doing. He was telling him, he was point guarding him, he was coaching him. And this is why, more than likely, because Mark Jackson is firmly pressed in his beliefs. Yeah, he's making damn good money with ESPN, but I believe one of the reasons he's not a coach is because he was that dude who would empower everybody around him. Right. He was telling these young dudes, it ain't about basketball, it's about life. And that's the very last thing that they need in that NBA is a bunch of dudes who are not afraid to be the next LeBron James, not physically, but spiritually and mentally. Yeah. And that's why I believe Mark Jackson don't have a job, because he is empowering people that they need to be, as Dawk mentioned last week, sheeple.
Right.
Yeah. And I think too, let's not forget, because it really doesn't get mentioned a lot. But before the championship team started, who was the guy that was the most influential during that time in helping to draft all those players? Mark Jackson. Right. Steve Kerr came in. Obviously, he was the one that got the hurrah and everything. But Mark Jackson was the man, because Steph Curry got in the league. He had a whole bunch of ankle problems.
Mhm.
I think he was going to be good, but he needed somebody to be the Malcolm X to say, like, you can do this. Like, it's in your pedigree. Dale Curry's your dad, So
Mhm.
yeah.
And remember, Mark Jackson said Steph Curry and Klay Thompson is the best shooting backcourt in the history of the league, and everybody was like, really?
Yeah.
And now he's the commentator that said it. And again, I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow. Like, they will defame people who have venom and power,
Right.
and and then they'll put you in a position to whereas, no, we're not defaming you, we're not blackballing you. It's just not a good fit. But
it can't be that many not good fits. That's the
right.
Right.
Somebody thinks it's a good fit. It's a good fit somewhere.
And
so go ahead. We could say something.
No, I was like, yeah, that's all.
So we go to 1963 July. Ali, I believe he was coming out of Elijah Muhammad's house, I believe, kind of getting into the car. This reporter comes up to him and starts asking him, "Hey, are you a member of the Nation of Islam?" And he was like, "If I was, so what? Like, it's a great organization." And I think, and they kind of, the graphic was showing him basically with the pin on.
Yeah.
So I think it was going to come to that point, I believe, really either way. And that journalist said it perfect. Like, Malcolm X was a person, but Elijah Muhammad had the movement, behind him. So you kind of think of which way, which way would you go in that situation? But I obviously was heartbreaking the way it happened. But you think of him at that time, at that age, what direction would you go?
I don't know. It's almost like he was, I don't know if I want to say Malcolm X replacement, but he wanted to try another avenue of grooming, I guess, if I will, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I felt like he could continue his upbringing and teaching and pour those into Muhammad Ali at that point, because since Malcolm X was pretty much already severed from the FOI, it was just one of those things where he thought, well, if that's a lost cause, then I could find something in Muhammad Ali and use him as a tool to kind of go out and get people in, or a mouthpiece, I should say, not really a tool, but I think it was one of those teachable moments.
Yeah.
HRap, I'm interested to get your take on that piece of it, the decision making of Muhammad Ali in that situation.
What I would have done, or what I thought about what happened.
Both.
It was both.
Okay. I think I would have did exactly what he did. Because you introduced me to a movement and you left it. And I don't really know why you left it, because I'm a 22-year-old man. I don't know anything. I know how to box, and I know I'm proud of who I am.
Right.
And you've been telling me for the last 3 years that this dude is the best thing since sliced bread. And now you're leaving.
Right.
I would have stayed with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as well. Because at 22, you go to, especially back then, the older person knows more than everybody.
Right.
So you got a 60-year-old man, you got a 39, 38, 30, 35, 36, 36, 37, 38-year-old man. I'm listening to the elder. You're my elder, but he's yours. So you know he knows more than you. And then he what it was is, it was way too much testosterone in this situation. You got that Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad testosterone. How dare you leave me? How dare you defile me? You got the Malcolm X testosterone. I'm right, you're wrong, and I'm mad at you because you did this. And then you got the Muhammad Ali testosterone. I'm a young man. I'm just growing, and I need the best possible path available. So he goes to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you look like a traitor.
Right.
Yeah.
You look like a traitor. And like I said, when we were watching the Malcolm X video. At the end of the day, Malcolm X was a traitor. Because Malcolm X, forget the violation of the rules and the defilement, saying what he said. Let's wipe what he said from the board.
Right.
Cool. You went to the very people who you've been preaching against for the last 12 years to snitch on HRap, Dawk, Ben, or Mayhem. That's wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
That's wrong on every level. You should, as my mother would say, you should have kept that under your hat.
Right.
Malcolm X should have just said, as Jay-Z said, he should have just gracefully bowed out. Hey, why you leaving? Hey, you know what? We've reached. I reached the fork in the road, and I think I need to go this way. Yeah. Especially since his point of view was, and I quote, "If I've ever offended anybody, any other black leaders, I hope they will forgive me and work with me." Yeah. You knew, as he stated in the book, I know what the Nation of Islam is capable of, and I know that they're not capable of doing some of the things that I'm seeing currently. Right. So you should have said, you know what, me and the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I've decided to open up my situation, much like he did with Marcus Garvey, and then it's over. Right. So people don't like that point of view. I got kicked in the head a couple of times. I got swung on a couple of times. I took them down on Twitter. But I got into a few debates on Twitter about that, a few inbox messages. But it is what it is, you know.
Yeah. You know, I said this when I was watching it. I think he took that was a petty, that was a 50 Cent type comment right there.
Yeah,
like he didn't have to say that. Obviously, you know, it's wrong, but you're right though. HRap, to say that to the media, the same people that you were telling a different narrative to, you now just really aired the dirty laundry. Again, it's not right, but that wasn't the right approach.
I think it was Muhammad Ali's brother that was saying that, made that comment. Like you said that about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You said that about that man. You know, when he was talking about having those different women, but it was just like, man, you don't say nothing like that. Yeah, you know, or like the brother was mentioning, the mission versus your personal life.
Exactly.
If you see me across the street over here drinking and talking, that's my business. You know, you got to separate those things. Don't go back and run and tell that. You know, you got to keep it, like you said, you got to keep that under your hat. You know, that's my business.
Yeah, there are no perfect messages. It's just the message that's important.
Right.
Just my opinion. Thank you for tuning in. He said Minister Malcolm was put in a difficult situation. He definitely was, and he was also alone. Literally, it was him and his family, and that security guard that police organization basically assigned to him. Right. But yeah, he was. I don't doubt that at all. He was silenced for 90 days. Yeah, I don't doubt that at all.
I'm struggling with this. Okay. And I'll give you an example. So today, word on the street is that whistleblower from yesterday said something about Facebook and wrongdoings, right? That corporation.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why Facebook was down. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, right? But let's just talk about whistleblowers.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the notes that I made for myself is that this notion that we are unable, not permitted, and discouraged from speaking out against wrongdoings and the injustices of our leaders is an asinine thought to me. Right. You know, there's a line there somewhere, right? To where you blindly follow, whether you don't say anything, whether you say anything, that can get very, 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 very tricky, you know. You know, now I hadn't dug into it enough, but you know, if these were underage females, does that change this narrative? You know, if this was against the law, does that change this narrative? Is it just simply because of his time? It looked like sour grapes based on when he said it. Right. It's like when if we in an argument, like, you know, me and Wilks in an argument about something, a heated fellowship about something, and he go, and I tell him, I said, man, you gotta frequently you do XYZ. And he says, well, you do it. You know, well, it loses its luster for you to say it at that time. You know, if you thought it was an issue, you should have said it was an issue, right? Right. So is that the issue? You know,
yeah, that is the issue.
Yes, it's almost like it went on.
You had a problem with it. You should have said you had a problem with it when you saw it, not when all of a sudden I'm on the outs.
Right. Exactly.
With that being said, Dawk, I follow what you're saying, but my issue isn't speaking out against it. It's speaking out against it to who he spoke out to.
Okay, to the media.
My thing is this. Yes. Okay, this is what I'm looking at. This is how I view it. Fourcast, we're a family at this point. Mm-hmm. We've been doing this for too long. It used to be like, hey, we just do a show together. We laugh and joke all day. We send jokes to each other. We're a family at this point.
I'm gonna come to y'all first.
Exactly. If I step out of line, you don't put it on Facebook. HRap a clown. You know, you put it in our group.
And you in a group chat with the person.
Right. You put it on Facebook, and then somebody else come to you and say, hey, you see this post?
Right. That's why I have a problem. I don't have a problem with him speaking about it, but this is something I speak about frequently on my show. We gotta start having these conversations in the cookout versus saying it to the world, because I mean, maybe I missed it, but I don't see any Latino people stepping out against Latino people on TV because it's the right. I'm just being righteous. I'm just keeping it real. I don't see any other communities doing it, but we feel obligated to tell the truth.
Man, this is almost. It's so funny. This is the rabbit hole right here for me, just listening to this, because there's always that thing when in an office setting, you don't want the manager trying to call you out in front of the whole office or in front of the whole, whatever it is.
Big no.
Pull me to the side.
Big no.
And address me about the situation. And it's one of those things, like my grandmother being a Sunday school teacher, and I just immediately could just see her in my face, in my mind. It was like, there's been many times my grandmother has saw me cutting up somewhere and has just come and ushered me to the side and say, let me catch you do that one more time. We gonna have to go outside. But she didn't stand up there and make a grand facade about it and say, hey, you see that kid right there, David Wilks? Yeah, he finna get a butt whooping. No. It's one of those things where it's like he said, you go to that person or you pull them to the side or who you went to about it. It's like, why didn't you just come to me about it? Why did you skip rank or jump rank and go to the head about it? You know, it's just one of those things where it's like it all has its place and time, I guess, but yeah.
Consider this. Did you hear in the documentary that I can't remember who said this at the time, but they basically said when Malcolmx said what he said about Kennedy, that gave the Honorable Elijah Muhammad the room that he needed to be able to sit him down or whatever. Did y'all hear that statement?
Yeah, somebody did say.
Okay. Let me ask you this. What if he did come to him behind closed doors? Right. And okay, so what happens then? You come to him behind closed doors. Let's use HRap's analogy. We come to you behind closed doors and say you're a clown, right? We take it to you, and you keep clown behavior, right?
I keep the doors.
You know what I'm saying? What then? So again, that's what we don't know, right? What took place there, which is why we can only have opinions. And before HRap, before you respond, I'm going to say this to the audience. This is why one of the most important things I've ever heard HRap say since I've met him was we need to listen to understand instead of listening to respond. It is okay to have disagreements with people, because if in fact you're listening to understand and you have the proper perspective, you can actually gain more ground. You can actually learn more. You can actually move the conversation forward in a better way, in a more productive way than if you just simply are listening to respond, right? And sometimes we have a fear of having the conversation or fear of the dissension within the conversation. Dissension is not bad.
Yeah.
How you handle dissension
is
bad or can be bad.
This is the only issue I have with that. He didn't come out with it until he lost that battle for that house.
Which is why I said time. Yeah, because he losing the grip on shit at that point. Hey, we were cool.
Yeah. Well, I can't get the crib. Yo,
yeah, right.
Yeah,
so
timing.
That's why I say, but my issue. Okay, if he'd have put it out in the nation, it'd have stayed in the nation.
Over there?
Huh?
Move, man. Is Ben froze over there?
Yeah, I think he froze.
Yeah, he
Go
froze.
ahead, HRap, keep
going. But see, the thing is, I don't have a problem with the conversation being had,
right?
But just keep it within us.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my only issue, because we make it, we've taken that behavior to the next level now.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Right. I don't even know. Like, this is a poor example. Like when what's my man Usain Bolt? I don't think he was dissing the young lady. I think he was saying, "Yo, you know what? Don't even do all that talking no more. Just come back, keep training, and come back."
Right.
And she took it the wrong way.
Oh,
we keep going. We keep showing up in these spaces, and people keep pouring gasoline on the fire, and like. Then you get people like DJ Vlad, and I promise I would never say his name on air, but on Vlad TV, he has two things. He has Rafer Austin says Jalen Rose wasn't a good teammate. And then he has John Sally's response to Rafer Austin. So he's getting that's clickbait.
That's right. That's right.
When I refuse to listen to any other stuff, but I really like John Sally. So he was forced to play the clip of what Rafer Austin said. And when the truth came out, it was Rafer Austin saying, "Yeah, I was a younger dude. I wasn't coming to the league. Jalen Rose, I love him, but he was a bad teammate. But at the same time, I was a just as bad teammate." Wow. That takes all the venom out of that.
The steam out of it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Sally explains. He's like, "Look, dude, he was a dude trying to make the league. Jalen Rose was damn near on his way out of the league. He was fighting for time. He went from this team. He went from Denver to Indiana, Denver to Chicago to Indiana, and now he in Toronto. He teetering. So hell no, he ain't finna help him out because he ain't Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. He's not an all-time great. He's an all-time good. And this dude is coming up playing the same position. I'm not teaching you nothing. Now, hey, when we get off this court. Hey man, this is how you set up your bank account. I'm gonna show you how to do this. I'm gonna show you how to do that. Because Chris Webber said Billy Owen took him to buy his first car. So now that type of stuff I got you. But at teammates, nah, dog. We vying for this. It's only 48 minutes to split up. Yeah, and your ass trying to get at 20 of my 48. Right. No, we're not being. And we keep going into the Twitter sphere, do you know, like, speaking of Jalen Rose, him and Perk be going at it on that show. I didn't see the show, but from what I take with Jalen Rose, he destroyed Perk one day. Just pow, pow, pow. He was beating him up. They were playing the dozens, and he was winning. And he went to Instagram unprovoked and apologized to Perk. And people were like, "What you apologize for him? It was all in fun." He was like, "No, because Perk my man, and he looks up to me.
Wow.
And I don't ever want him to feel like I ain't got his back. So I publicly apologize." I don't know what happened after that because I don't spend a lot of time on ESPN anymore. Yeah. But that's what I'm talking about, dog. Yeah, I offended you. It was within the boundaries. But I felt I colored I was in the gray area a little too long. And I just think our community don't know how to live in that. You know, we live in that gray area too much, and we get right into, we go so far in the gray that we out of bounds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I say Malcolm was out of bounds, because you can't go from y'all some devils, you know, to you see what he did over there. You know,
Right.
Nah, that's my issue with the good brother. And you know, those people, until people found out that this dude is really one of my heroes. As a matter of fact, I done told y'all the story before. Without Malcolmx, I don't graduate from high school on time, because Miss White said, "You gonna read this book?
Yeah.
Well, your ass ain't gonna go to school. You gonna be in summer school." And I was like, "Guess I gotta read this book."
Mhm.
Yeah. I get that.
But that's,
Go ahead.
that's my only issue with it.
Yeah. One of the, while we waiting on Ben to come back, which may or may not, we may be stuck in this loop. We might be here all night, because if he don't come back, we can't end this live.
Yeah.
All right, we can't
So what I want to talk about now, we get to talk, we're going to do the show we really want to do with Ben.
You see old girl booty? No.
But one of the things that I found interesting during the earlier parts of the documentary, right? They brought Martin Luther King up, right, when they were talking about Malcolmx, and this is the first time I've heard it described this way, but it was powerful. He says Martin was the kind of guy who thought in terms of what we must become. Malcolmx was talking in terms of who we were and why and how we are that right there.
Right.
What's your thoughts on that? Did y'all pay attention to that during the
Al Sharpton?
Al Sharpton said, okay.
I was gonna say, I feel like that was a moment of evolving for, like you said, there was a time. Oh, matter of fact, back it up to Marcus Garvey, where he was saying that the Negro wasn't going to be fearful. Well, I mean, wasn't going to be afraid anymore. It wasn't going to be quiet. Wasn't going to be scared to stand up to authority in public and speak that. So I think that moment was very significant. I think it was one of those things where Malcolmx just kind of latched on to that, and knowing that, and I don't know how it affected Malcolmx, and I didn't know this, but seeing your father drugged to a train car rail to be ran over, I mean, that's enough to drive it to like, no, I don't hate you, but you're not going to keep walking over me. You're not going to keep stepping on me. Right. You know, it's just one of those things. I think that's a moment where you build that backbone of that pushback. And it's like, you're not going to treat me lesser than how you're treating your neighbor. And I think it was a significant moment.
Yeah, I mean, with that being said, I totally agree with that. And that's like that book I said earlier. We shoot back, and that nonviolent stuff will get you killed. Right. The reason that book is entitled "That Nonviolent Stuff Will Get You Killed," because the original statement ended with it wasn't stuff, it was something else, another word. Yeah. And there was this the dude who wrote the book's father went to a Malcolmx rally. I mean, Dr. King rally. Mm-hmm. He said, "Man, I agree with everything you said, but that nonviolent stuff gonna get you killed." Yeah, he didn't say stuff. He used the word.
Yeah, check this out. When Ben come back, we're gonna say, so I give it 5 stars, and hey, and we're gonna 5 mics. So we're gonna act like we didn't gave our
we done. We
our review already.
No, he probably still watching though. He probably watching.
No, he's saying he having to restart his computer.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, we got him. Yeah,
but hey, so this is what I want to talk about though. I want your thoughts. So 5 mics.
5 mics.
The weirdest thing ever happened.
So that's it. We done, brother. We just gave our mic.
All right, now y'all have a good night now.
But no, I want to get y'all.
I'm out.
I want to get y'all thoughts on whether do you think Ali regretted how he handled the situation, based on again. We didn't hear directly from him, right? We heard from, I think it was one of his daughters who had said that they said it to him, and his brother gave his opinion on it and stuff like that. What are your thoughts? HRap, start with you. What are your thoughts on whether you think he what do you think his thoughts were about that?
Oh yeah, man. I think that's why he went on that humanitarian run. And then shortly thereafter, I mean, we talking about 8 years later, he left the Nation of Islam. Mm-hmm. He became a Sunni Muslim. Especially then, he's regretting it because he's probably saying, "You were right. something ain't right. But
Yeah.
at that point, you know, no disrespect to Nation of Islam, man, but Herbert Muhammad, no comment. I'm gonna move on. But because I don't want to tell those same white people Malcolmx is telling about Herbert Muhammad. But you know, I don't want to be Malcolmx. But you know, man, he had to, because as the title of the documentary is Blood Brothers. Dude, you spend that much time. You put like this: if somebody walks in your house and changes your life to that extent, and you turn your back on them,
right?
And then let's not forget, in the movie, while he was on suspension, he's hearing that his boy just got murdered. He in Chicago. He wasn't on suspension yet. Well, he's in Chicago, and he hears that this man gets murdered, and they have Will Smith crying in the car. If that isn't a dramatization and just saying, "Hey, man, he was upset," if he was really that emotionally bothered, that walk with him every day. That's the extra pair of feet on that picture with the sand.
Right.
That walk with him for the rest of his life.
Oh, I'm sure.
Wilks, what you think?
Yeah,
and we're gonna continue to ignore Ben until I decide we're gonna bring him back in this thing.
Hey, man, that's all right. Based on tonight, you don't know what's gonna happen, so I'm gonna let you quarterback it.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like what HRap was saying. Like I felt like, you know, even though one of his daughters mentioned it, you know, in his later life, I think it hit him in his early life. I think when the assassination, when he died, then nobody was probably reporting, and he carried it and maybe finally came out and said, you know, that was probably one of my biggest regrets. But no, I'm pretty sure it was eating him up on the inside. I'm sure he carried that for a long time, man. Just, you know, I can't imagine a man of his stature, you know, those alone times or when you meditating or you thinking about, I can't imagine what may have went through his mind. Or, you know, sometimes, you know, when somebody's alone like that, they'll speak out loud, you know, kind of like, I guess you need to hear yourself say it. So I'm sure there's been many times he's had to speak out loud by himself to see, like, okay, I got to hear myself forgive him, or I hope he forgives me, because I've been carrying this weight for so long. So no, I'm pretty sure it stayed with him quite a bit. And
I think the reason why they can only comment on what he felt later in life is because he was like we are, right? And that is, sometimes you can't say the hard stuff out loud. Right. You know, in other words, they should probably ain't never heard him say nothing like that until you get older and you start getting in touch with your morality and knowing the end is near, and you're reflecting over your life and stuff like that. And now I can say it louder, right? You know, I mean, heck, I heard my own dad say some stuff to me as he got late in life and was battling cancer and stuff like that, that I was like, wow, you should have said that 30 years ago. I'd have been over here playing dominoes with you every weekend. You know, if you'd have just said that, right? But because we're, I think, sometimes embarrassed by our missteps, you know, we kind of try to swallow those, right? Because again, sometimes as men, we are expected to be supermen, right? Which has no flaws, and we're not gonna make a mistake, and we, especially to certain people within our lives. And now we'll turn it back over to the hands of Deacon.
Is that being over there?
So I think he was reading the script when he was asked these questions. I think he was coached on what to say. I don't think a lot of that stuff he said came from the heart.
Oh, I got you. You're talking about Ali back when it was going on.
Yeah, back when it was going on. He had to, he definitely regretted it, because that's like, again, like goes back to HRap's point. That's like one of us, like tomorrow, we once somebody gets on social media and says the forecast is all fake and none of them real or something like that, and then we just all just act like, you kind of act like nothing happened, or you know, somebody. So I think he definitely regretted it, but I agree with you too, Dawk. I don't think he number one, knew how to say it, and number two, didn't want to come back, because you got to think Malcolmx was called a hypocrite. So if you come back and say, "Oh, that was like," you maybe he didn't want the backlash either.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give Ben a different spin. Y'all can relate to it, obviously, and follow this. But Ben and I were part of an organization. Okay, we're part of an organization. We developed some very tight friendships. Okay, but when we left that organization, all of a sudden these tight friendships that we had, all of a sudden didn't exist anymore.
Wow.
We talking on the phone once a week, going to lunch. We seeing each other on the weekends. We boys. As soon as we leave that organization, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about, let me put it like this. I can speak from personal experience. I done poured into these. Y'all know how I operate, right? As an individual, right? This was baby Dawk at the time. I didn't have the same resources, but I had the same heart, right? So I'm operating in the same way. I done poured into these brothers' lives a lot, but the second I'm out of this organization, all of a sudden my phone number got changed or something, because I don't hear from them anymore.
Yeah,
I had 1 or 2 phone calls early to say, come back.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a conversation that said, hey, let's go to lunch, or let's keep treating me the way that you have treated me. Right. So that may have been one of the reasons why this hit me in a different way, is because if y'all supposed to be boys, at least, and again, we don't know what happened, right? We're forced to fill in some gaps, but give me a phone call. Hey, I got to go this direction. Right. But hey, if you ever need anything, I'm still. So the part where I think Malcolm was in this particular, they found themselves in the same town. I want to say it was New York. I can't remember, but they got wind that Malcolm was over there. Or Malcolm was here, and they got wind that Muhammad Ali was over there coming out this hotel. Hey, Muhammad, and he basically refused to go see him or whatever. Again, don't know how accurate that is or whatever, but that's where that hit me, Ben, when I started thinking about us being a part of that organization. And I'm telling you, right to this day, you want to talk about something that bothers me? Now, I don't have any grudges against anybody for that and all that other kind of stuff. But I'm telling you right now, it hurt based on the fact that, I mean,
look, to put this in perspective, we had Monday school is what we called it. We were there on Monday. He then came back on Wednesday for leadership training. Then we had Friday, which we did men's fellowship together, and then we had Sunday, which was church. So you think you're with these people almost?
It was a part-time job. It was 20 hours a day. I added it up one time. It was 20 hours a week.
Yeah, and so when you leave, and that's a great example right there, because when you leave, it's like, oh, you don't even know me. Like, I haven't changed. I'm not a different person. I still believe in the Most High. It's not as if I just completely went astray.
Yeah, and I left on good terms. I didn't leave talking trash. I left on good terms. It was just the best decision for me at the time. So
I think kind of like what Dawk was saying, it's kind of like that. It's the unknown that hurts, because you're like, well, what happened? And then it constantly, it's just like with the regret, maybe Muhammad Ali had it ate at him. So Dawk's wondering, like, what the crap's going on. So that it'll slowly eat at you a little bit, because you're thinking, it'll have you to the point where you're thinking it was me. It's like, it's not me. It's like, what happened all of a sudden? So I think that hurt comes in where it's just like, okay, nobody's ever going to answer the question. Nobody's ever going to step up. And I'm never going to get that question. So that now it leaves you, I'm at peace with that. Let me move on and continue with my blessings, because I can't allow you to hold me back from that. It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, well, bygones be bygones.
And I think another point too that Dawk didn't mention is that when you're on the inside, right? We about to get a little real here. But when you're on the inside, you are in almost every organization like this. By the Nation of Islam too, you're trained to, when somebody leaves, you say, "Oh, that person left." Now, you're almost trained to not. It's almost like they got the plague or something.
Yeah.
Like you can't go near that person because
Right.
if you do, oh no,
you're not trained to go get that person back.
Yeah.
You're trained to say, oh, that person's gone.
And that's the piece that
you're trained to point and not
that
say
struck
anything.
me. See, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said no one is to have contact with him, right? He actually said that. They said that in the documentary, right?
Right.
And it may not have been said out loud, but it was understood, obviously. And I'm not the only, I'm one of many.
Right.
Yeah.
As they say in Chicago, things that are understood don't need to be explained.
Right. They say that here.
Oh, I've heard that.
Now, Ghana, Akira Ghana
You're
was
gonna
when
do
Ali.
what?
Well, that was when Ali and Malcolm was there.
Where
You
you
said
going?
you're gonna do something.
Ghana.
Oh. Hey, man,
Go ahead if you got it.
I'm trying to go on right now. But anyway, they were both there. I think the part pretty like
That's where it was.
Like we're all talking about.
Ghana.
Is that the part when they're walking literally up to each other, and at that point, Muhammad says, "You did it. You was wrong." Like it wasn't really. I don't know the way they explained it. It wasn't an embrace. It was just like, you was wrong. I'm gonna keep it moving. And there was one of the people said when he got into the car, the look on his face was just his whole countenance was gone. So
yeah, man, that right there, they'll let you know, man. Malcolm knew it was foolish pride that got him in that position that he was in.
Oh yeah.
And if Malcolm felt that way, and he was a far more mature man, a few months later when this same man dies, who attempted to make peace with you, maybe if they never crossed paths, it's a lot easier.
There you go.
But this dude tried to make peace with you, and then before, I don't care who you are, man. And I would never assume that Muhammad Ali is nothing but the man that he showed us he was.
Right.
And if he was that dude, there ain't no way in hell he didn't go to the grave. Going, damn.
Right.
Right.
Right. And I think that us to a man, it's one of the reasons why our opening thoughts were sad situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if?
Man, that's supposed to be a voice.
Because it didn't have to go down that way.
Right.
Because there was, even if Muhammad Ali wasn't backing Malcolm X anymore, he could have still been like, hey, I'm in this organization. I may be saying some stuff, but I'm gonna come to you and just say, hey, like this, I'm about to say this. So kind of be prepared what I'm about to say.
Right.
But it was said, and then when they tried to interact, or when Malcolm tried to interact, he was shunned. And I think he knew. So
with that being said, I'm ready to get my final thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, one more thing, Dawk, and to back up what I'm saying, Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, aka Stokely Carmichael, he made this statement. He said, told a story. He said he came, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad sent for him shortly after Dr. King was assassinated. He said, just come to my office. We'll talk for 15, 20 minutes. He said he walked out of the office 8 hours later. Wow. And he won him over. And he was like, hey, man, I'm going to have the FOI follow you because they're going to be gunning for you. He was like, I don't worry about it. He said, nah, that's not a suggestion. I'm just letting you know. When you in America, these guys will be following you to protect you. So had a warm spot in his heart. That's 68. Fast forward 16 years in 1984. And he never said who these dudes were, but history tells us, well, I'm going to assume that he was talking to Farrakhan and Jesse Jackson. He said two of the most prominent spiritual leaders at that time, and those are the only two at that time.
Yeah.
He said, I gave them my phone number, and they gave me theirs, and we made a pact. He said, we made a pact that if you hear me say anything about you in public, if you don't see the words come out of my mouth, you call my house.
Right.
And then we'll know who, the nonsense.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just looking at the dudes. I think it was Jesse who told me. because I just don't see Farrakhan out there going, let me tell you, Channel 5, you know, I just don't see it. But, you know, and then just to show you cold-blooded cat that Kwame Ture was, he said, because then he was like, and then one time me and Louis Farrakhan was talking, and so I'm thinking, yeah, it was Jesse. He was like, him and Farrakhan was talking, and Farrakhan was like, hey man, Jesse running for president. Think I should put the FOI on him? He said, nope. You want to play the games with them white folks? Let them keep playing. He said, Farrakhan was like, nah, man, I'm gonna put them on him. He said, man. So this late that led me to believe it was really Jesse who let the cat out the bag. Didn't follow protocol, but he said Farrakhan was like, hey man, come on, man. You don't understand what it's like to have somebody trying to kill you. He's like, what?
So let's get to final thoughts. We're gonna go to Dawk first.
For me, I think the message is loud and clear. You know, again, the overwhelming thought that just hit me when I said to a man, one of the first statements out of our mouths was that it was a sad situation. So my final thoughts is to everyone, it doesn't have to go down like this. It don't have to go down. It don't ever have to go down that way. And we all know what way we talking about, whether it be with your mama, your daddy, your kinfolk, your neighbor, it don't have to go down that way. You have the power. I'm a firm believer that I am in control of every relationship I'm a part of. I determine its success or failure based on what I'm willing to put in. It don't have to go down this way.
Real quick question from Just My Opinion. Who do you think ordered the assassination?
Who?
Yeah, it was definitely out.
Let me put it like this. You remember we were kind of debating a bit when we were even after the actual documentary, Who Killed Malcolmx, we were still a little we were still doing a little debate between the four of us, right? After this, there's no question that it was government, because I'm gonna tell you this. He was starting to reach out to some to other world leaders, getting their attention about the race problem in America. And he was about to make it. He was about to make it like a Geneva Convention kind of issue.
He was taking it to the UN.
UN situation. And so at that point, that changed the whole game. So I don't think there's any question whatsoever, because he was reaching outside the United States to say, hey, what's going on over here? It ain't like you think.
And like that brother said, unfortunately, you got some niggas that will sell their mama out for $2.
That's right.
We can't allow a white man to assassinate Malcolmx. It would be catastrophic.
Malcolmx said, they'll get one of us to kill one of us so they can say it was one of us.
And then I was looking for the guy, I forgot what his name was now, but the guy that had the trench coat and the shotgun. I was waiting for that clip.
You noticed they showed the video right before he walked across the camera, but they didn't actually show that part in this documentary.
That part I was like, okay, I'm waiting for the guy, but this Raider Kev comment, I don't know if y'all commented on this or not. But I'm assuming, because he said there's a couple of typos here, but I'm assuming he said, why don't we have that hate? I'm assuming he's saying it's not in our DNA, or it's not in your DNA. It's not.
Malcolmx said why we don't have that hate. In that interview in the middle of the documentary, he said the black man is it's in our nature to be righteous. Righteous people don't hate people. You have disagreements, but you don't hate nobody because it costs too much to hate.
And I think the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was touching on that. He's like, we just want our part of this earth. We don't want your integration. Just give us what we can take and make for our own, because obviously you don't want us a part of this at all. So it's like one of those things where it's like I don't have the energy to be hating you at all. I don't have time for that.
And I'm gonna tell you something. You want to know a brand new, fresh off the presses thought? They fear our forgiveness.
Because they don't know. They don't know.
Have you ever had somebody forgive you and you know you done did them dirty?
Right.
And you be like,
and you at peace?
You forgive me.
Right. You got to double check.
They fear our forgiveness.
Yeah.
You want to mess somebody's mind up that did you wrong? Forgive them.
Right.
Yeah.
Send them Starbucks tomorrow.
Right.
Hey, dog.
They ain't drinking that coffee.
Right.
That sounds like the very last lesson my mother gave me. I still am a super hothead. I just control it better now. And she was like, "Hey, you know what? It was, literally the very last thing we talked about."
I think you may have told me that when you was here.
Yeah, she was like, "Next time somebody piss you off, look them right in their eye and say thank you."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "They gonna think you either too stupid to realize they insulted you, or think you're about to kick their ass. Either way, they're not gonna mess with you no more."
Yeah.
So that's exactly what Dawk talking about.
Forgiveness.
Yeah, because you've diffused that moment. They were like, "What?"
It happened shortly after she transitioned. Somebody made a insanely disrespectful statement to me, and I was like, "Thank you," and they flinched. Like, I swear to God, this is what they told me, man. And I'm not patting myself on the back for what I'm about to say, but I'm a good father, college educated, never been in penitentiary, no clean record. I got a couple sock out, disturbing the pieces, but nothing for real.
Super punch out.
Right. Super socked a couple people got arrested for it.
Yeah.
But no real track record. I've never even taken a hit of a joint. And this person walked up to me after quitting the job, an awesome job, and taking care of my mother for the 2 years that she was sick. I'm talking about everything would give her a bath. This person walked up to me and said, "Man, you did a great job with your mother. I didn't think you were going to do nothing." I was like, "Thank you." And they flinched. And I was like, "Hey, it works."
Yeah.
They flinched.
Wow. Hey, that's a backhanded comment.
Right.
It's not any right there. But we appreciate that. Just my opinion. He said this is a great conversation. Appreciate that. Every Monday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can definitely come right here.
Yeah, spread the word, share the video, hit that like button, subscribe.
Right.
Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend.
Exactly.
It was better than watching the Raiders tonight. Way better.
All right.
Mama John Gruden. My fault.
Chucky. All right, Wilks, final thoughts.
Yeah. I think we should probably say what we need to say in the moment. I think this is one of those life lessons that echo throughout our lives, and it's important to say the things. If they hurt, hopefully you can heal from it. You can bounce back. You can come together. It's one of those things to admit that if you're wrong, you're wrong. But this documentary was done well. I mean, it is the what if these two powerhouses would have got together and even maybe eventually pulled in Martin Luther King in the situation. But of course, unfortunately, he was assassinated earlier before that. But it was just one of those things where I think it was a significant documentary. I thought it was done well. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. HRap, you got any other final thoughts?
No, man. It's just, as Wilks just said, it's just sad commentary. Two of my
Put
favorite.
Big Illinois thought up there while he talking.
Oh, God.
Wait a minute.
And on that note,
He's gonna go get his hair.
Oh, man.
I'm wearing this next week.
The fresh one.
I'm gonna wear the brand new one. I'll be wearing this next week. And tell you what, if that chump ever answered his phone, he would have his shirt.
Right.
And on that note, my final thoughts on the show is Big Illinois, your mama.
Wow.
No, but it's just a sad commentary. And I will say it, man. It's just a damn shame that every time somebody in our community steps up, they get murdered.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Mega Evans. Boop.
Yeah.
Malcolmx. Boop. Martin Luther King. Boop. Huey P. Newton. Boop.
Yeah.
HRap B in 2099.
Right.
And
of course,
me. I could duck. I got
and
this
of course,
bad
Dan
back.
Boyd
I can
so
still duck.
Right.
Yeah, I would say my final thoughts. I think I learned, like I said earlier, I learned a lot about Ali that I did not know. A lot of details. I thought it was well done. It was again one of these documentaries where you know the ending.
Right.
You just hope that it's different, but you know what's gonna happen. Now, one thing I don't know if you guys mentioned this while I was on a hiatus, but Ali called Malcolm X's family after leaving
we did
the
not.
Nation of Islam to apologize, and
That's
so
right.
that was a conversation that Malcolm X's daughter she had that at his funeral. So that was someone else speaking on it. I think there was 2 or 3 people.
But they remained friends,
Yes.
after that conversation.
And that's why I thought, and that's why I was saying earlier, I felt like even at a young age, it just still bothered him when he got the news, when the news broke out. I think it just ate at him.
Yeah.
I wonder, did he help them financially?
I bet he did.
I'm pretty sure.
I thought they mentioned something.
Part of it was he said that Malcolm wanted to make sure that he'd make sure that he would want him to make sure that they were all right,
Yeah.
Right.
And I thought, there was some insinuation there that there was financial, but they just didn't want to say it specifically,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the rating.
Why did you put stars? Really, it's not stars.
Hold on.
Yeah, what kind of hockey game is that, man?
Hold on.
The Dallas Stars.
I had a Raider
Formerly
Cavs.
the Minnesota North Stars.
I had a Raider Cavs typo.
That's right.
All right, 0 to 5 mics. There we go. That makes more sense. All right, so I'm gonna go to you, Wilks, first.
I think it was 5 mics. I think it was good. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot from it. I love, almost to the point of it made you question Muhammad Ali at an early age and him through. But I think that's just how media wanted to shape it. But I always, when he was saying that, I think it was Dr. Todd. I can't remember his first name, but
Todd Boyd.
He was saying like how the media was kind of like making a softer or different image of Muhammad Ali on the Wheaties box and being a champion. But I kind of disagreed with that a little bit, but it made sense. It was just that I remember him and watching videos of him being controversial or, reading about him being controversial or being that voice. But I thought it was done well. 5 mics for me. I learned a lot because, like I said, other documentaries don't, which I know that's not the point, I guess, talk about this relationship. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I learned a lot from it.
All right, HRap.
Ditto. One of the most goodest I've ever seen.
Had a Denzel moment there.
All right, just my opinion. Yes.
Yeah.
Forgot to say this. Those of you that have watched it, give us your rating. Just my opinion says 5 mics. All right, Dawk.
4.5 mics for me. 4.5. It was a little something, and I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
When I compare it to the other documentaries we have seen, even the Who Killed Malcolm X documentary, it is something I can't give it quite 5. I can't illustrate what that is, but it's just something missing for me. So I got to go 4.5 mics.
I'm actually agreeing with you on that because I wanted to give it 5, especially after what Wilks said, but then I'm thinking like it was very well done. I'll definitely say that. But there was something, I'm not gonna say it was missing anything, but there was like I was thinking 4.5, the whole time. Yeah. But this still goes up there, I would say.
Big killer no.
Wow. Yeah.
Nah, that's not why I'm going 4.5.
Forget who you thought I was.
Yeah.
I'm Rick James.
Yeah.
But yeah, this definitely goes down, and I would say one of the top ones we've done.
Yeah, they ain't no slouch, and I would recommend it highly,
And then I think this may be the first time that something was tied to 2 movies or films we reviewed, One Night in Miami and who killed Malcolmx. So that's we coming full circle. So all right, well, thank you everybody for tuning in to the Fourcast. I apologize for the technical issues that happened, but maybe that may mean it's time to upgrade, or YouTube don't like what we're talking about. But
yeah,
either or. But we'll be back. We'll be back next week. We're gonna do Crooklyn. I think we came to that
yes
agreement. Do a throwback.
Where are we gonna find that at?
Is that on Amazon or something? I don't know.
It better be, because I ain't never seen it.
I'm surprised. All right, it's on Amazon Prime with
it says on Hulu if you got a prescription. Prescription.
If you got DV, you can see it.
Sorry, I was thinking Octagon earlier.
This fool says VD. If that's not an old term, man.
Wow.
If you got a prescription.
And then we're talking about gonorrhea earlier.
Get out of here, man.
Close it out.
In this now.
Let's get out of here. So Crooklyn next week.
Yeah. So Hulu, man.
Me and Spike Lee got beef, man. That's why I ain't never watched.
Oh
Me
my
and
God.
Spike Lee got about 8 years of Twitter beef.
Really?
For real. I'm not kidding. Me and Spike Lee got beef.
Did he block you on Twitter?
Nah, me and him I used to get into it with a lot of people on it. Yeah. Really, man, I asked him a question and he got kind of snotty with me. And I was like, thanks. We ain't go back and forth. I just didn't like his response. It was very disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as disrespectful as Stephen A's because he was bragging about the Philadelphia Eagles gonna win this game. And I joked with him, man. And I was like, hey man, won't you just stick to basketball? He called me stupid.
Wow.
So I'll introduce him to HRap. Look at.
Yeah, you know he's gonna come at you.
Nah, he ain't checked me because I put these Fifth Ward B's on his ass.
Yeah.
All right, close this out, HRap.
I'm gonna tell y'all. You got to ask what Dawk gonna talk about.
Right. What y'all talking about tomorrow, Dawk?
Tomorrow. Married and Lonely. Tune in to that one.
Married and Lonely.
Married and Lonely. Yeah, we're going to ask some questions about whether it's possible, what happens, how it happens, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that'll be a good show on Queen, 3, and King. And also on Thursday, our first installment of the Queen, 3, and King Spotlight series. This is where only one of us, one of the members of Queen, 3, and King will interview someone else, a one-on-one interview with someone else who we find interesting, inspirational, controversial, et cetera, et cetera. So my first installment of that will take place Thursday at 7:30 as well. So
all righty.
Looking forward to that.
Got that Bobby Womack theme tomorrow, huh? You think you're lonely now? Oh,
wow.
Wow, really? Wow.
You probably have to come here to Texas.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
He'll do it.
Let's go to singles ministry at the church.
Wow.
All right. And what you got coming up tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I'm doing a special series called Butt Naked Under My Clothes.
Wow.
Probably not.
I'm gonna cover married and things, and I'm gonna cover one of the things I'm really gonna focus on tomorrow. It's the mistreatment of us, the black man. One of my favorite radio show personalities. I mean, she might not be one of my favorite. She may be
the favorite.
But I can't think of her name right now. The lady who Dream Hampton. She had Dream Hampton on her show a week ago today or tomorrow. I'm not sure. It was the day after R. Kelly was found guilty. And they kind of laid it at the feet of black men. And they made this statement about if we had conversations like this in a barbershop, then people like R. Kelly would be people who do things like R. Kelly would be reduced. And it kind of ticked me off because I'm like, we do. And because we don't let y'all in on those conversations, because we don't sit around on Facebook. Did you hear what y'all like my man Ben said at the barbershop? You know, we don't do that. They think we just some damn cretins.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going in. I mean, I'm gonna piss off some ladies tomorrow. But hey, and I'm gonna have some Millie Jackson playing in the back. Damn it, I had to say it. He had to say it. But I'm really just tired of this. First of all, I'm tired of the Civil War.
Mm.
You know, it's created by the powers that be, the black man versus the black woman. Yeah. You know, and then we have the discrimination and disrespect Olympics going on.
Mm.
Oh, you got to be here, blah 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 blah. It's like, so I'm gonna bring that up. Then I'm gonna bring up the disrespect from some of our athletes get, like The View attacked LeBron James. I'm gonna talk about that. I got a few things I'm gonna talk about, but it's just a fed up kind of show because you know, black men actually love black women too, and we don't stand around and just, you know, like in that Eddie Murphy joke in the barbershop and the original Coming to America. We ain't standing around talking about. I was walking down the street the other day and I saw a black woman coming down, punched in the face. Oh, I thought you was somebody else. No, we don't do that. You know, we don't hate y'all. I'm tired of the negative connotation. Like, I even had a good friend tonight. Me and her were going back and forth. And, you know, she called me with this situation, her and her guy or whatever. And then she was like, yeah, I guess, you know what? We need to stop seeing y'all the way men are portrayed in movies. I'm like, what?
What?
Your mama. You know. But yeah, so, you know, I'm a little disjointed in regards to that. So
yeah. It's always good to have one of those type of shows.
Yeah.
One of those type of HRap shows every once in a while.
They should have called Angry HRap a couple months ago. That you know, that HRap would have ate this topic up. But I'm 51 now, man. He can't be yelling at the screen.
Yeah.
But hey, Ben, the HRap that you met would love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Eat that up.
Yeah.
All right.
I got more gray now, so
yeah. All right, go ahead and close this out.
Shout out to Reggie O'Shea and Craig Smith. And I end every show by saying, dream your dreams and man up and woman up and live your dreams. Because life with dreams flows in black and white. Life without dreams flows in technicolor. Life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in technicolor surround sound. Thank you guys for coming in. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that share button. Hit that notification for BS3 Sports. Please, we need the support. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tune in every Monday and every other day that Ben has something. And tomorrow, tune in to the End of the Bench podcast here on YouTube, the End of the Bench podcast, built for this network. And I want to say, do something before something happen to you, as well as you already know how it go. If I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.
Peace.
All right.